Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout for the Pinkfresh Studio design team, and I'm going to be using the Joyful Day collection for my page today, and I just love all the patterns and colors in these papers. It's so bright and cheerful and happy, and right away I was drawn to the paper there on the top. Those little frames are so cute, and this paper is called Perfect Moments. And these are just begging to be cut out. And so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with them yet, how I'm going to arrange them on my paper or my photos. I don't even have those chosen yet. I'm just going to start with fussy cutting. And I always say that it's a great thing to really look at your pattern papers and see if there's something that you can cut out, and that may help spark an idea to help you get started. And so that's what I'm doing here. I love that some of these are oval, some of these are square, some of them are rectangle, all kinds of different patterns. And I really love this blue color. This pattern paper here is called Big Ideas, and it's kind of a periwinkle. It's more blue than purple, but it's not royal blue, it's not navy blue, it's just pretty. And I'm gonna just tear a big chunk off and use that as a starting point, and I'm gonna wind up attaching that to some white cardstock. And then I thought I might just start playing around with all these frames that I cut out, and they all have rainbow colors on them, and I'm just going to start to kind of tuck them underneath this torn paper here and start to layer them down. And I like how this is looking. You know, you could arrange these frames in a totally different way. You could make it more of a grid. You could go with certain shapes of each one. I just went for all of it here and thought I would just start to layer and stick down. So I decided to print out these pictures. Actually, I'm going to wind up using two, very similar but slightly different. This is me and my youngest daughter playing with Snapchat. I don't even have Snapchat now, but when it was really popular a couple years ago, I had to get it. I didn't actually use it. The only thing I used it for was taking pictures. I never posted anything on it because I did not have time for another thing to, you know, waste time on. So I just used it to take funny pictures, and I saved them, and I thought these were so funny. And I love the pink and the yellow mostly. And so I thought that those would be fun to print in color and use as a nice contrast with that blue paper and the white cardstock, since, you know, there's so much pink and yellow going on. And I'm going to wind up using one photo that's slightly bigger, and I play around. I thought about using three. I go back and forth with how I'm going to arrange those, but those are definitely the pictures I'm going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and start to glue down the frames, and I've already got the background paper taped down. So I'm going to do this before I do any mixed media, and yeah, I'm still playing around with the pictures. Do I want to use two? Do I want to use three? Like I said, one of them is a bit bigger than the other one, and they look similar, but they're a little bit different. So everything's glued down here, and now I'm going to come in with some white gesso, and I kind of wish I would have done this before I put down all the frames, but it's okay. It works out in the end. So I'm kind of having to lift up the edges because at first I did not want to put any gesso on top of the frames. I just wanted to leave those as they are, and then, you know, have the big blue paper at the top and then some mixed media down below. Now I do add a little bit of gesso behind where the photos are going to go. I'm just trying to soften up some of the blue just to give it a little bit of a different, you know, a little bit lighter area behind where the photos are going to go. And I did wind up scraping a little bit of gesso on top of the frames, but you know, it's okay. I'm not trying to cover those up. I like the way that they are white with all the different color outlines. Now here's where I kind of wish I would have done this before. I'm trying to watercolor underneath the yellow one there that's at the very bottom. The watercolor is going to start to kind of soak through, so I'm going to wind up removing that one, but when it dries, it's fine. So what I'm doing here, I've got my little palette bowl there. What's that called? Artist palette? My paint tray. And I've already got some of the watercolors in there from my previous layouts. That's the good thing about these watercolors, is even though they may dry in your plate there, as soon as you add water, they're going to reactivate. And so I already had this color there, and this is my favorite color of all the watercolors. It's a really pretty aqua color, and so I'm just using a brush, using some water. I just want a nice pretty wash of that lighter blue. And here I go taking off that bottom piece, and that's okay. And I'm not worried about some of the watercolor getting on the frames. I just kind of felt like I did this backwards instead of, you know, doing all the mixed media first, which is what I usually do. But this was one of those layouts where I just kind of went for it and worked around things that were already glued down. I do add that same aqua color behind the photos there just to break up the dark blue or that periwinkle blue color. And it's very subtle, but I like how it looks in the end. So now what I'm going to do is add in a little bit of soft pink. I've got the blue down. It's pretty much dry. Now what I did there is I'm using some plastic from some letters or some stickers, and then I'm just using some white acrylic paint and some of the pink watercolor from Pinkfresh Studio and just dabbing a little bit of it in there and mixing it together to create a soft pink paint pretty much. And I'm going to use my palette knife to just scrape in a little bit of pink. And I'm just trying to pick up some of the pink that is in our curly hair in the photos there and bring that down to the bottom of the page. And I'm just kind of trying to peel up some of those frames and scrape the knife underneath there. And this is just something else that you could do with the watercolors. You don't have to use them as is. You could color up some paint and, you know, make your own color of paint there. So that's what I did. And it's fun to use the watercolors in a different way. You know, I use the blue just as watercolor, and then here I'm mixing it with paint to make it a little bit thicker, and then I'm using a brush to add some splatters. It's just fun to play around and use it in different ways. And so I really like how that background is looking. I'm going to very lightly start to dab at some of the dots there, the splatters. So I am going to use another, you can see over in the upper right hand corner where the yellow frame is, where the paint leaked on it. I cut another one out and I'm going to use that one instead. But when it did dry, I noticed that it was fine and I could have used it. But rookie mistake, do all your mixed media first, then start gluing things down. Otherwise, that will happen. But, you know, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You live and you learn and you move on. I'm going to add in some of the chipboard, what are those called? Frames. Those are actual frames as opposed to the ones I fussy cut out. I guess they're both frames, or they could be called labels. But yeah, the chipboard ones are frames, and I rarely use those on top of my photo. Like, I never really put a photo inside the frame for some reason. I've done it before, but I just don't do it a lot, and I don't even know why. I like to use them as layers like this, and so I just tucked a green and a light blue one behind the bigger picture and then a yellow one behind the smaller picture, and I like how it just gives it a little more separation from the background. And I knew when I started making this that I wanted to use one of these big puffy word stickers as my title, and I felt like I had to go with fabulous because, you know, when you're doing Snapchat, those filters are just too funny. And so yeah, she was not that amused. She's kind of smiling, but she just was looking at herself going, I got better things to do, just hurry up and take the picture. But they still make me laugh because she looks like a little old lady. Embellishing. Now I pulled out all the embellishments from Joyful Day. I've got the stick sheet here, and again on the sticker sheet there's circles, there's hexagons, there's rectangles, there's frame shapes that matches the frames that I cut out. So I'm just trying to pick out things that are the right color, the right shape, and look good in certain spots. I'm going to use that circle that says smile, that little yellow piece down below that says this day rocked, and then that hexagon shape over to the right that says you rock. Now I'm going to wind up changing that fabric banner. I pulled out the pink one that says fabulous, and I had not realized, I knew it, but I didn't think about it, that my title is going to have the word fabulous in it. So I'm going to wind up changing that banner piece out that says fabulous, because I didn't want fabulous on there twice. I'm going to use some die cuts. That one over to the left, it's a long stretched diamond shape, says celebrate today, and then some heart puffy stickers, and then that blue, what is that? I can't think of my shapes today. A blue bow. It has a little puffy adhesive sticker behind it, adhesive foam, and that's from the mixed embellishments sheet. And now you can see where I changed out the banner, the fabric banner up at the top. I switched it to that dark orange one that says hello. And now all I'm doing is adding in some thread. I'm going to add a little bit of hot pink underneath the top photo there next to that circle to add a bit of darker pink, and then some of the periwinkle blue down below underneath the This Day Rocked piece. And then over to the left, I'm going to add in some light blue to match the blue watercolor that I've got going down on the bottom. I have to say, I mean, I always say this was fun to make, but this one was really fun to make because I used so many colors. You know, I was going through all the embellishments and everything matched. And I love when that happens. Don't get me wrong, I love mixing and matching collections, but when you're using one collection only, you know, everything goes together and it just makes it come together so much quicker, I think. And it's fun when you look through everything and you see something and it looks good and it looks good, and you don't have to keep, you know, trying this here and trying this there and, oh, I don't like the way this looks. It just flows. And that's what I love about this collection, is everything matches and everything flows. And I love these big words. And so I'm going to use Fabulous, and I love that was the perfect color. I like that light blue color. I didn't want to use anything else that was the darker blue color because I felt like I had enough of that in the top. So I'm going to add this little sticker here. It says Snapshots. It's the blue color, but it's a small piece. And I'm going to use it to break up some of the white of the frames. But it says Snapshots in pink, and I love that. And then here's another little pink sticker that says Remember. I'm going to try to pull up some of that frame that I've glued down and stick that above the big photo. And I do try lots of other things, but wind up not using them. You get to a point where, you know, is it too busy? Is this too much? Do I need to back it off? I am going to add little pops of yellow up at the top with the enamel dots here and a couple of the light greenish blue ones. And I do use this. I wanted the title to be Fabulous and Fancy, but I did not have an ampersand. And so I looked on these scripty blue puffy alphas, and the W's, if you turn them sideways, they look like an ampersand. So I'm going to use that as an and then I'm going to make a little rainbow fancy word here out of this small rainbow colored alpha puffy stickers. And so that's going to be my title. And I like the way the and the fancy fit in between the long F and the L. Love that. I am going to add a little something down here at the bottom. I'm going to use that yellow frame. That was the very first one that I took off because paint seeped through it, and now you can see it dried and you can't even tell. So I'm going to use it, and I'm going to add a chipboard puffy sticker. That does not exist. A chipboard sticker bow with some orange thread this time down at the bottom to kind of pull in some of the orange from the banner piece up top. Gold. I'm going to add a little bit of gold splatters here just because I felt like if your layout's all about being fabulous and fancy, you need a little shine and sparkle. Added a pink bow from the mixed embellishments, and then I'm almost finished here. I'm going to use my T-square ruler to add some lines, and I'm going to start to write my journaling, and I'm using my Sharpie fine tip pen. And I do add the date off camera, and that's going to wrap it up. There's the final layout. I love how this turned out. These pictures make me laugh, but this collection was really fun. I'm telling you, that frame paper is awesome. I think it was just meant to cut up, but I would love to see different interpretations of how you would use all those little frames arranged on a background. So I hope you give that paper a go because it's fun to play with. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions about any of this collection or any of the techniques or anything that I did. I really, really like how it turned out. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. I hope you have a great day.